Stick your ideological positions up your arse and just act in the best interests of the country for once. Hey up! Oh! Welcome back. My final day on the QJ Motor SVT 650X. I know I've already done the final thoughts on this bike video, but this is the last day with this bike. It goes back to Appleyards tomorrow, and all being well, be picking up the Voge 300 Rally, something a bit different for a week. Out up here in the wilds again. Been getting a bit wound up by the number of scams that keep coming my way via email at the moment, specifically directed at the channel. I know that quite a few of you out there are sort of in the formative stages, the embryonic stages of doing a bit of YouTube vlogging yourselves on your bikes. So as you hopefully continue to grow, watch out for these scammers. And the latest one, or the latest batch if you like, fall into two categories, but they're both trying to take you down the same route. Basically what they do is they will either offer a collaboration, an affiliate arrangement, and they might be offering, I mean, one that I dropped on lately was offering like studio microphones for vloggers, and it's the usual sketch. We'll send you a free product, and then we'll send you an affiliate code which will give discount to your viewers and a little bit of commission to yourself. A fairly standard model. What I always do these days when that happens is I absolutely check exactly which email address it's coming from, and if it doesn't tie in with the product that's being offered, I smell a rat straight away. So you get those, there's a load around, folk wanting to do thumbnails for you, some of them are genuine, some aren't. Folk that are wanting to arrange affiliate customers for you and all the rest of it. There's a whole host of things that are offered. But the other one I got recently, where it came through as like a copyright claim. And it's framed in such a way as to immediately make you think, oh my lord, have I got a copyright strike, what have I done wrong, I need to check it out, and they show a clip of the video in question, like my video on this occasion, and a big cross on it, and then an invitation to click here to arrive at a quick and amicable agreement to resolve the matter. Well, and on the other side, where they're trying to flog you a product, there'll be like a little icon to click to take you to the affiliate program to register. Now, hey, when you click on either of those, the affiliate program, or you click on the resolve the copyright dispute, it takes you to a Google login page, and it asks you to log into your email with your password. Right, if you come across that, don't do it. It's a scam. It's an absolute scam. It ain't Google. It's not Google. It became obvious to me when I got to that point and it said log into your Gmail account. Well, I were already logged in. I'm always logged into my Gmail account. I don't log out of it. So yeah, nice try, no cigar. So watch out for that. Little tinkers. I tell you what, we're living in strange times, aren't we? We really are. I watched something on YouTube the other day from quite a well-known shall we say, well, a well-known content creator, but a well-known presenter of mainstream media from way back. And he was sort of making the point, and this sort of chimed with me, that the last normal year that we had, the last year that we had that was anything like normal, were 2019. And from 2020 onwards, everything seems to have been nothing but an endless stream of turmoil, doesn't it? It almost feels unreal. And yeah, very, very, very disconcerting indeed. And I, as you know, in a lot of my past content, I've sort of placed an emphasis upon the fears that I harbour around our freedom to do what we want to do, whether it's on a motorcycle or in a car or on a push bike or whatever, but just your freedom to roam when and where you want. And I've in recent years acquired this nagging fear that some sort of agenda's being pursued on the back of the turmoil. And if you were being highly conspiratorial, I suppose you could argue that the turmoil itself has been deliberately brought about to be able to create the circumstances in which constraining our freedoms becomes a lot easier for the powers that be. You could argue that. I think that might be just a step too far for me, but I would not rule it out. And I noticed in the media lately we've had things like the Chief of the Defence Staff, who's currently an RAF guy called Richard Knighton. So he's an Air Chief Marshal. For my American friends, I know in the Air Force you have generals like in the Army, but our generals in the Air Force are called marshals. And of course the Air Force, the Navy, stroke Royal Marines and the Army take their turn to be top military bloke, and at the moment it's the RAF's turn, so it's this fella, the head of the RAF, Air Chief Marshal, Sir Richard Knighton. And he was saying in quite unequivocal terms that we have to prepare for war. The UK has to prepare for war. And on the back of that came a bit of an article about the likely need to ration the availability of certain things in the supermarket. So if you think back to 2020, that dreadful year, and 2021 to a certain extent, when you think back to that, certain items in the supermarket you were restricted to like 2 or 3. You know, you couldn't go buy half a dozen. And it would not surprise me at all if that comes about before too long. So I don't know what they're up to. I mean, I could say, do they know something we don't? But they always know something that we don't. I mean, I've worked in that world for long enough. I've worked with central government, I've worked with the intelligence services and the military. You know, I do know that there is always contingency planning in place. And for the most part, Joe Public's better off not knowing what it is. Because it keeps you awake at night, but it is always ongoing. But sometimes I just, in my sort of darker moments, I wonder if actually what is being planned behind the scenes is a paradigm shift in the way the country runs. And the freedoms both of travel and expression, speech, protest that its citizens have are about to be constrained even further than they already are, which would be a considerable worry to me, because it has the potential to impact upon this. And I suspect the way that it's going, looking at the current mood music and looking at historical precedents and all the rest of it, the next time that we have our freedoms curtailed, trimmed back, will be on the basis of energy conservation. So I can see a point. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm not wanting to depress anybody. I'm just giving voice to my thoughts, which may or may not pan out into reality. But I just look at the circumstances and I think, right, so we've got all this issue around the Middle East and the supply of everything from oil to liquid natural gas to fertiliser to helium, all of these things that are absolutely critical to various aspects of life, and in particular the supply of energy, all energy, be it gas, be it petrol, be it diesel, and electricity. And you might ask, what's electricity to do with it? It's got everything to do with it. If we suddenly find that there's in one form or another, either by constraining supply or by restricting use, that'd be the two ways, wouldn't it? You either limit supply or you restrict use, or probably you do both. through a rationing process. And you can quite easily see that coming about, particularly in terms of petrol and diesel, for example. But certain, food products, for example. Because of course the supply of food is inextricably linked to the availability of the diesel that powers the goods vehicles that deliver it, but also the processes associated with processing and manufacturing. So it's all linked. So you can see that coming about. And if you've got an electric bike or an electric car, don't be feeling smug. Because if one form of energy is to be rationed and the demand managed, then so's the other. And of course the bulk of our electricity comes from gas-fired power stations. So have a think about that if you think it isn't going to affect the ability of people with electric cars to randomly plug into the grid and draw power therefrom. And I just think we're in the early stages of a bit of a perfect storm to allow the powers that be to again restrict our freedom. Because you can see how it'll pan out, can't you, eventually? Be saying things like the recreational use of any vehicle that uses fossil fuels is going to be restricted. So that's just about everything. That's just about everything, isn't it? Cars, motorcycles, motorhomes, all of the things that are used recreationally and that consume fossil fuels. And that will be policed, and I've no doubt there will be some form of operational order on the day that allows the police to do exactly what they did in 2020. And if they find you out riding your bike for fun and you're not actually using it to get to an essential job or something of that nature, then you're going to be on the naughty step, aren't you, and probably getting sent home. Worst case scenario, getting your vehicle seized. Now you might think that these contemplations of mine are a little bit hyperbolic. But all I'm doing is looking at the prevailing facts which are laid out before us and drawing some logical conclusions. If something is in short supply, the only way that you can manage that situation is through restricting / rationing supply and restricting demand. And like I said, most likely both. So why would that not be the case? But it all just fits very, very nicely into the narrative of shutting down people's independence and freedom of thought. It's like yet again the other day, 500 folk, 500 ordinary decent people, most of them bloody old age pensioners, from what I could see, been arrested for peacefully sitting with a bit of cardboard. And the bit of legislation that was brought out to make what they were doing an arrestable offence has already been overturned by the High Court as being unlawful, but because an appeal's been lodged, of course, they've decided to completely ignore that ruling and carry on locking up pensioners, vicars, doctors, lawyers, and then you sort of map that over the complete ideological intransigence over getting a bit of resilience in the meantime from further North Sea exploration. And you can, in your darker moments, you can see a very controlling draconian agenda playing out. Well, I hope I'm wrong. And I hope, when it comes to this, you know, please don't accuse me of going back to being political, because I've always said that I would talk about things that directly impact upon us as motorcyclists, and this around fuel is clearly one. I hear this argument that if you start increasing North Sea oil and gas production, that it won't impact in any way on the price because it's set globally. Right, fair enough, but we're not talking about the price, are we? We're not talking about affordability now, we're talking about availability and the resilience of the country and its ability to keep going. And if that has to come at an increased price, well, that's better than not having any resilience whatsoever, is it? So, to my mind, what they should be doing, even if it's only for a transitional period, is they should be opening up Jackdaw and Rosebank and getting out of there everything they can at the moment to keep us ticking over. But what seems to be stopping them doing that is some sort of vague ideology, which I think is very poorly articulated at the moment, about the absolute need to decouple from fossil fuel dependence and migrate over to renewables. And I absolutely do get some elements of that argument. What I don't understand is, why can't you have both? Particularly for a transitional period, while we're vulnerable, while we're fragile, while we get back on our feet. You know, stick your ideological positions up your arse and just act in the best interests of the country for once. Anyway, that'd be my view. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And that, for today, be that. If you do like what I do on this channel, please would you click a like, please would you click subscribe. It's absolutely free, now and forever, and it helps me enormously to keep going. Without subscriptions, I have no channel, so if you would subscribe, I really would appreciate that. And until the next time, and in the meantime, ride safe, be kind, and I'll see thee. Oh yes.